wow, is all I can say. Wow. Liverpool were sensational. I mean, Chelsea have had a good result today. Man City have had a good result today. But today is all about Liverpool. What a sensational, dazzling, historic moment. It really was sensational from Liverpool. You've got to be over the moon with that.
Very.
Could anyone did they see that one coming?
I certainly did. Rory made a great prediction pre-match that it would be 4-0 or 4-1. I think Liverpool, they've kind of sailed some of these victories more recently. Southampton was like a training game, if not easier than that. Their average in terms of goals per game were 3 goals per game in the Premier League so far this season. So they've been scoring above their average and raising that, obviously. To 4.
I just can't believe it. I just can't believe what we've seen tonight. You know these games, they go down in history. Like this fixture, Liverpool versus Everton, Everton versus Liverpool, most red cards. And when you think back over the years, there are so many moments that you can think of. Right. You can think of the Robbie Fowler celebration. You can think of Grobbelaar and McManaman. You can think of that Steven Gerrard goal. You can think of bundles of Steven Gerrard goals. What we have just witnessed tonight will go down in history. Your grandchildren will see moments from tonight. This game will live forever. It was sensational.
As long as Liverpool win the league, or as long as Liverpool win something, you would see it. If they don't, they basically go, you were close.
Can you believe? Right, think about everything we've seen. Firstly, Mohamed Salah is going to get the headlines. Mohamed Salah is going to get the plaudits.
The finish was incredible on both goals for him, but
the way he left Seamus Coleman.
Yeah, but the first goal really was even more impressive for me. I think his finish and everything else, and that was in a point where Everton seemed much more in it as well.
Yeah.
The Henderson finish, though, is...
That goal, annoyingly for Jordan Henderson, and unfairly, Jota's goal will be celebrated forever. Salah is Mo Salah, and therefore he scored 2, and he's going to... I feel like the most important goal of the game was actually the Jordan Henderson goal.
Because it settles
That'll be the forgotten goal.
Great goal, though. Really, genuinely fantastic goal. And I think the main issue with just Liverpool at the moment is people seem to expect this now. So they only ever focus on Liverpool when they trip up or when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And there's only ever really any inquisition into what's going on there at that point. Up until that point, they go purring along, whatever. But don't overlook the fact that Liverpool have averaged over 3 goals a game so far this season. We're on 14 games now. They've scored 43 goals and they've conceded 12.
I mean, that is unbelievable. You know, when you conceded tonight, obviously Damari Gray got one
annoying.
back for Everton.
Yeah.
No
point did I worry.
Thought it mattered, which is probably the biggest compliment you can pay to Liverpool.
It's also just the fact that basically we're so confident right now that our strikers can do stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of where we've also tripped up more recently, because I think every time we've conceded, we've gone, we can always score again. You don't want to have that sometimes.
It's unbelievable what is going on at Everton. Rafa Benitez is presiding over. It's Everton's worst run in the league for 22 years.
It's just a lack of confidence, isn't it? I think overall, and a lack of backing of the manager. He became a bit of a sitting duck early on, when basically the players very much realised, well, the fans don't want him, and you see this last week when they lost again to Brentford on the weekend. The fans were desperate, basically at the end going, you know?
Yeah.
And that was a real issue.
But do you know what? It's never going to work for Benitez at that club because of everything that's gone beyond it. You had once the Liverpool fans are chanting and singing La Bamba to Rafael Benitez, it's never going to work from an Everton perspective. You have got the current Everton manager's face is tattooed on loads of Liverpool fans' bodies. That shows you that it's never going to work.
He's also he's on one of our scarves. He's on one of our
banners. He's on one of your banners.
He's on one of our banners. He's on a scarf that I wear to the games.
But what I would say about Everton is, if you were to list the 10 problems wrong with Everton, I don't think Rafael Benitez is in it. Everything is wrong with that club. You look at them. Well, you look at the money that you spent on that has been spent on that club. They've spent £500 million in 5 years, and they've got a situation where Rondon and Iwobi are playing. I mean, that is a perfect example of what is going wrong with that club.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I also think there's a real issue in the fact that obviously they're going to get this new stadium that's now promised. They're going to try and push on to the next level. The stadium will commit them to pushing on to the next level. We also look at the fact that I think they probably don't want to back Benitez because they don't think he's going to be there all that long. And it does hamstring him a bit.
I feel like there's fixtures coming up. So bearing in mind, they've taken 2 points from 8 games.
Yeah.
And coming up, they've got Chelsea, they've got Arsenal, they've got Palace, they've got some difficult fixtures.
You need that new manager bounce.
But, okay, is this hyperbolic? I'm often accused of that, Loz. Are Everton in a relegation battle?
No.
Why not?
Because I think if you were to get a new manager now or soon, you'd see this set of players pull themselves out of that issue.
Biggest home defeat in the derby for 39 years under Benitez's tenure.
Klopp inflicted it. I mean, I also think it's Agent Rafa. That's all that you need to know. Thanks a lot, Rafa Benitez.
I just can't understand why you don't think they're in a relegation battle.
Because, like I said, if Rafa was to move on soon, and it would be, Rafa's obviously.
So you think to survive they have to sack their manager though?
I think they have to part ways.
So what happens if they persevere with their manager?
I think. I personally think, despite the Liverpool game, Everton have been in quite a few of these games up until either a very late point or a poor part of the game for them. The Watford game, I think they gave up on that. I think other games, they've been unlucky sometimes, and there's been times where I think you guys, you deserve better than that from this game. So I think the problem with Rafa Benitez is you have to persevere through a difficult period for a little while because he's trying to teach the concepts to the players, but it does seem to me the players aren't particularly trying. They seem very demoralised. They seem very
But is it fair
disengaged.
to say? I would say that the players aren't good enough. When you look at their team, with the exception of we had this conversation on the kickoff that we've just done. But I think in the whole squad, they got one good defender, and that's Yerry Mina. They got one good midfielder, and that's Decore, and they got one all right centre half, and that's Calvert-Lewin. They've spent £500 million.
Centre forward.
Centre forward. Sorry. They've spent £500 million and they've got one player per position and a good goalie picked.
But that's what's weird about it is that's not Rafa Benitez's fault, so we can't really put that on Rafa.
No, I don't blame Benitez.
I'm not saying that, but that speaks to the problems at the club that Rafa's been brought in to now fix. But Rafa's probably going to be looking at a lot of these guys and going, well, what do you expect me to do with Keane at centre-back? What do you expect me to do with Seamus Coleman, who's obviously too slow at this point?
Mate, what do you expect me to do with a £25 million player that we'd never heard of?
There's that as well. Although if they've spent £25 million on him, there must be something there. So there are assets within there, but there's also key points in the squad in the Premier League now that you can't overlook. And you've got to have two decent centre halves. That's just a fact. Or at least one who's extremely strong.
Yeah.
And can pull the other one through. It's not quite there yet. And your fullbacks are so key, and they don't have that. And I'll be honest. I think Pickford pulling off all these saves is fine, but I think a real issue with that is, do the defenders feel confident in front of him, or do they feel a bit too reliant on him? You don't want to feel like you're relying on your goalkeeper. I've
been blown away by Liverpool tonight, I'll be completely frank.
Me too. I've been blown away by Mo Salah.
Do you know what I was quite pleased about? Mo Salah, I think that the Ballon d'Or has been a mockery this year, and it's quite brilliant to see Mohamed Salah put in a performance like that, score the variety of goal that he scored today to demonstrate quite how brilliant he is in a game of that magnitude on a week where he's been snubbed.
And not only
I like it.
I think he's I think he is that kind of player. He goes, you know what? If these guys won't give me the plaudits,
they will next year. They'll have no choice because he's actually boxing the decision makers. Who votes on that? It's journalists from around the globe. They have no option but to put Mohamed Salah into that competition.
Well, do you know the other aspect of it? I think on the continent they basically go, but you've sort of been brought up by the rest of your team there, or Klopp's good, or Van Dijk's good. I don't think the perception.
He's the jewel in the crown of the team.
But the perception is that Liverpool are strong as a team, and therefore, Salah should be doing well. The interesting thing about Messi and Ronaldo was there was always such focus on their individuality and their individual brilliance. People almost forgot how good the teams were that they were in.
I agree. I completely agree.
And it's the other way around for Liverpool.
But sensational performance for Liverpool today. Absolutely sensational. Chelsea also won. Man City also won.
So all three of the top three won. So that is... And you'll be seeing tomorrow night... Oh no, West Ham also drew. But you'll be seeing tomorrow night... Arsenal going for 4th place, right?
And Manchester. I've got a scroll if you want to see the Manchester United on the table.
Wait, are Arsenal actually going for 4th? Yeah, they are. If Arsenal win tomorrow, they're in the top 4.
But Manchester United will do their best, Ralph Rangnick, to stand in their way.
Apology?
I will not. I mean, I may at the end of the season.
Right,
If they make top 4, I'll hold my hands up.
But Arsenal are competing higher than I think you or I thought they would. And I've got to admit, I think that. I've got a lot of respect for Arteta, but I didn't think they'd be there.
If they win tomorrow, I'll apologise. How's that?
I like that. I love that.
Cool. Thank you so much for tonight. I had a brilliant kickoff.
I really enjoy spending time with you.
Loved it.
You're a genuinely
Thank you all
person.
so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a like. Please click subscribe. See you on the next one. Ta-da. And remember, go easy, step lightly, stay free. Nearly forgot my catchphrase.
Whatever.
Can't forget my own catchphrase.
Catchphrase?
Can't forget my catchphrase.